What is up, guys? Hey, my name is Rick. I am a financial coach and the owner of the Debt Free Mafia, and I'm so glad you're stopping by today's video. I wanted to talk about this super troubling statistic that 60% of six-figure earning millennials still live paycheck to paycheck. We're going to talk about that. I'm going to do a reaction to this article on Insider magazine. I'm going to link it in the description so that way you can go and check it out if you want to, but we're going to review it right here and talk about it. So I'm going to go ahead and jump right into this bad boy, and you're gonna get my pretty much raw reaction to it because I went through it a little bit, but I didn't read it real hard. So I'm just gonna kind of give you my thoughts and my perspective on all of it. So let me pull this up real quick. Okay, very cool. I'm gonna drag this over so you guys can see it. All right, so we're gonna start this thing out. 60% of millennials earning 100,000 say they're living paycheck to paycheck. All right. In a new survey, 60% of millennials earning over $100,000 said they're living paycheck to paycheck. Some of these millennials, known as Henrys, preferred comfortable, expensive lifestyle. In today's economy, $100,000 is considered middle class in the U.S. Why is that? Why do you think that is? Why do you think 60%? You think it's just because of inflation? I don't. We can talk about that. Okay, high-earning millennials feel broke. Yeah, if you're living paycheck to paycheck, you probably relate to that. Right? And that's not a dig. You can change that. It just takes a little bit of work. You're in the right place if you want to change that. Okay. All right. 60% of millennials ranking over $100,000 a year say they're living paycheck to paycheck. In a new survey by Payments and Lending Club, which analyzed economic data and census balance surveys of over 28,000 Americans, found that 54% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. So look at this. The average American lives paycheck to paycheck. Well, I should say 54% of them do, right? Millennials are 60%. So millennials are worse at living paycheck to paycheck than other generations. A lot of them feel like they're living on constrained budgets that may or may not have to do with income or more to do with expenses, the report said. So I have a big issue with this, okay? So a lot of millennials, and I've heard the arguments, say that that things are too expensive, and I will agree that rent and housing prices in today's world, I'm talking about, this is June 27th, 2021, are high right now. They're a little high, but not astronomically high. Where I think the problem is millennials deal with the entitlement problem. They feel very much like they're owed something. And this is just a little bit of Rick advice. And this is advice I got when I was in college, and it really changed my perspective on things. Nobody owes you anything, and you don't deserve anything. I know that sounds a little bit harsh, but you don't. Just because you went and did something nice doesn't mean you require or you don't deserve something nice in return. That totally defeats the whole purpose of doing something nice or helping somebody, or just because. So I started a business. I started a business at 22 years old technically, and I worked my tail off. I did all of my homework, and guess what? It didn't work out. Matter of fact, I had to go through a bankruptcy because of it. And it was a big learning point for me because I thought I would do all this right stuff, I would get something good in return. Guess what? I got the opposite. It was brutal. It was so brutal. However, God was good, used that whole scenario to set me up for what I'm doing today. So I'm not mad about it. But what I want to talk about is a lot of millennials I know, they feel like they need to go on awesome vacations. And if they don't get their yearly vacations to somewhere really nice, they're feeling absolutely defeated, broke, like they're mistreated almost. I'm being a little bit harsh, but it's true. And also it's like, if they don't live in a cool place, they feel like they're missing out. So, a lot of millennials talk about high expenses. Well, so many of them are migrating to super expensive places like Nashville, Austin, Denver, I said Pacific Northwest, California. There's just this huge migration to these places that are cool, and don't get me wrong, they're super cool, but they're also massively expensive, right? And we don't have the income to justify that, because the ranking on priorities when it comes to millennials, self-indulgence is way up there. There's like self-indulgence, and then there's like doing a budget. right? So there's this big disconnect on this sense of I'm owed a really cool place to live, or I'm owed that vacation this year, I'm owed that new car, or I'm owed this house because my friend's got a nicer house, my friend's gonna have a nicer car, my friend has a cooler job, my friend lives in a cooler place. There's just this constant lack of discontentment. So when we talk about when I talk to my clients about this, we talk about how contentment plays a huge role in living on less than you make. Guess what? There's always going to be somebody with a nicer car. There's always going to be somebody with a nicer house. There's always going to be somebody living where you want to live. There's always going to be somebody going on a cooler vacation than you. It's never going to end, and you're always going to be thirsty. You're always going to be thirsty and never satisfied. So, however, if you make this mindset change that, hey, I'm not owed anything and I don't deserve anything, I promise you, your life will change. Not only that, if you can stop having expectations of people, this is just side wisdom. If you can stop having expectations of people, you will enjoy life way more. Okay, I'm off my soapbox. Okay, so this says this is partly because of lifestyle choices. Many of these millennials are like Henrys. Short for high earner, not rich yet. The acronym was invented in 2003, but is characterized to a group of 30-something six-figure earners who struggle to balance their spending and saving habits. Have you guys gotten on like Instagram or like TikTok and you see these like people that all they do is they're like young people that flex? Chances are they're massively in debt. They can afford the payments every month, but they don't own anything. And here at the Debt Free Mafia, owe is better than own. Just kidding, other way around. Own is better than owe. I said that backwards. But yeah, that's the idea, right? So own is better than owe. So Henrys typically fall victim to lifestyle creep. When one increases one's standard of living to match the rise of discretionary income, they prefer a comfortable and often expensive lifestyle that leaves them paycheck to paycheck. We talk about this all the time to the Debt Free Mafia. When it comes to succeeding at your finances, it's 20% math, so doing the budget, making sure you're investing, emergency fund, and 80% behavior. And that just speaks to this whole scenario right here. We have bad behavior when it comes to money. Again, they're also talking about how $100,000 isn't what it used to be, and it's not. It's not what it used to be. However, you can still do extremely well in America making $100,000 a year. Extremely well, but it requires sacrifice and determination and contentment. So be okay with that. Be okay with it. So this kind of goes on to talk about how college-educated 35-year-old earning more than $100,000 while juggling mortgage, student loan debt. Yeah, again, student loan debt is probably one of the biggest kickers. I hate student loan debt. It's one of the biggest scams out there. Millennials have half the wealth that baby boomers had at the same age. So yeah, and the number one culprit is student loans. And you cannot tell me that college degrees are worth what they were 20 years ago, 30 years ago, even 10 maybe. So yeah, then it goes on to talk about affordability crisis, income increasing, simply have not kept up with the exponential increases in living costs. I think that there's some places that are incredibly affordable, but people don't want to live there because it's not cool. So yeah, cost of education has doubled, and that goes into student loans. Yeah, if you look at like a graph of like how much just books cost, that graph is super unfair. It's like we're paying like 8 times as much for books than what they were in the 90s, it's ridiculous. So I get super frustrated with the education system. I think it's really broken now. Yeah, but that's kind of really that article, guys. If you want to go read it more in depth or line for line, be my guest. I know I kind of went on a little bit of a soapbox on today, but guys, let's live with some contentment. Let's live with some financial freedom. Let's do things right. Let's stop trying to keep up with the Joneses. Let's stop trying to impress people. Let's stop doing it for the gram, So guys, I appreciate you. I hope this was encouraging to you. Hope I didn't beat you up too bad. That's not the goal here. The goal is to help shape you up to where you are put into position and taking care of business. So let's do that. Guys, again, go ahead and hit subscribe if you're into the financial freedom that we teach here, if you're into the Debt Free Mafia, if you are interested in winning a shirt, we got to get to 100,000, or sorry, not 100,000. That'd be amazing. Let's get to just 100 first. 100 subscribers. I'm gonna do a giveaway video for that. It'll be really cool. So, guys, I appreciate you for stopping by. Again, hope you have a really good week. We'll talk to you later. Peace.